What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Treehouse. It's me, Julia, and with me, as always, I have Hattie. Hi, Hattie.
Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry you're missing Eurovision. Who do you like so far?
Oh,
This will get everyone chatting.
so I do understand people are boycotting. I feel you. I get you. I get it. However,
I watch it on a pirate stream. Not that I would ever do that,
it
but
is it is a special interest of mine. It's very
unfortunately, it is a
hard.
special of interest of and of many of our mutual friends.
Yeah.
If we didn't consume it, we'd be left behind. So what we did is we opened the episode, and I realize this is my own fault. We opened the episode with like being the worst leftists in the world.
Yeah. Having
Is what
said
people have
that,
come. Yes.
do quite like Finland.
Everybody is saying that. I watched it. I think you have to be European to enjoy that. So I understand why all of our friends do. It's not for me. That's freak shit.
I also enjoy Moldova. Do I think they're going to win? No. Do I
No.
enjoy Moldova's vibes every time they come to the competition? Yes. Um, but I'm excited to find out what the running order is so that I can plan my pee break.
Right. Um, that's a nice way of saying it. I just say a bunch of really cruel things about those people when they're on. Um, I am a Croatia guy. Uh Julia heads, friends of Julia. No, my choice is always the one that is closest to like as close to folk music as possible. I want you to do it in your don't be
Does it?
French and sing in German. Don't no.
Well, the
I want
French
it
would
in
never
your
do
language.
that.
Well, I know,
But
but like what was it last year? It was something like
does it sound like a witch's spell and you're
yes.
conjuring something from the Middle Ages? That's what
That's
Julia
exactly
wants.
that's exactly. Oh my God. You do get me. Absolutely. Latvia was my pick last year. Absolutely. I do want to I want it to sound like woods nymphs. And I want it to feel a little bit like I'm being cursed, which is why I tend to go for the Balkans. Not that Latvia is in the Balkans. Um, but yeah, no, I need to feel like I'm being
Is it a
cursed a little
country that
bit.
Nigel Farage would get angry about? If so, Julia likes their Eurovision entry.
See, and I never made that connection because I make a point of not knowing enough about Nigel Farage's preferences. So he would not like Croatia, like as a place, even
No,
though the women are very attractive. I don't know what his things are. I'm going off of our
he's married a
shitty guys.
German, he's married an Irish woman, and he's
Right,
dating a
right.
French woman. And I think, Germany is
Which,
as far
yeah, I
as he
understand, but
would get.
like two of the three of those, you would not expect a xenophobic English person to like the Irish and the French.
But they're racist
Far be
Irish
it
and
from me.
French people,
Oh,
so
okay.
but that's
Well,
fine.
so. And you know what? And you know what? That's a little bit of Irish fetishization on me that like it doesn't occur to me that an Irish person can be racist. Uh they can, and they think they have whole little enclaves for it, but the mythology of being Irish in America means that you're super unless you're a cop, you're super lefty and they're freedom fighters, and all of them apparently were in the IRA, even though you came over in like the 1800s, but whatever, it's fine. So,
Should we talk
geopolitics are
about
out of the
rugby?
way. How about rugby geopolitics? Do we want to start with yeah, you know what? The Six Nations are happening and they're finally ending soon.
It's coming to an end.
What happened last time?
So last time out, should we start with England versus Italy, go in chronological
Yeah.
order? Yeah.
Yeah, let's go
So
chronological.
ended up finishing 61-33. It was actually the only game of the weekend where the little, if you look at the points flow chart, where it didn't swing in the opposite direction, but it was a lot of points conceded by England. Five tries, in
What
fact.
I was gonna say, what was it that friend of the All of Us Hugh was telling us that this is a new record for England that they have never broken before, that all of us will like because it is the first time that they have conceded this many tries at all, isn't it? In a Six Nations
No,
or something.
I think it's the most tries they've conceded in a Six Nations, they have
Yeah,
conceded
just as
more in
Six
a
Nations.
game
Oh,
against
yes.
France.
Yeah.
But this is like, it was the first time they've conceded a try bonus point against Italy. It was the first time they've conceded a try bonus point against
Wales.
Wales.
Yep.
33-61, like that's pretty. And like, I know I've been banging the drum about Italy over the last however long. I do think they're dangerous. They are following the sort of coaching style of Zebra Man, who his coaching style, if you guys don't know, when he was the coach at Zebra, was our defense is shit. It's always going to be shit. So let's just score loads of tries.
Yeah,
It
so
sort of
just bash it in.
worked. Yeah. Um,
It
so
did, and really, it speaks more to another point that friend Hugh has been making, which is that actually it feels kind of like other teams are, and this might come with confidence. This might come that like it happens after seeing one bad performance, you feel confident after it. But either England is getting worse, or what I think, which is the gap is actually narrowing.
mm,
I know that it's a really popular narrative right now that, and it was very rich of RFU to come out recently and be like, we're challenging the other nations. So, okay, well, I mean, okay, France
I
got
feel
really
like
close last year. Canada
I
got really close in the World Cup. Like we are,
I feel
but
like they said that though, to be like, we're challenging the other countries, like we want the other countries to be better, blah blah blah. The way that they've said it this year, because they have kind of said stuff like that in the past, but like
yes.
not quite to the amount that they've said it, like this year. I feel like it's because they know it's coming and it's coming at them quick.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like if we were to get for and you know what, whatever, it's our podcast, we're allowed. If we could weave in one of our other kind of conspiracies in media res right now, like in the middle of us forming one of these conspiracies, uh that might be why they're expanding the PWR.
Mm.
Uh, because all of the times that everybody is asked to come join it, they've said no. And now that maybe they need money, maybe they're realizing that other countries are catching up, and they're like,
Maybe they're realizing that the three Celtic nations actually, do you know what? There's an audience there and they want to watch their
there
own
is
players and not just the
all of
English
that,
ones. Wild.
all of that, all of that is exactly what I mean. And if I may dump on RFU a little bit more, but uh,
And
it
how can
it
I
feels
stop you from doing that?
how how can you stop yourself from joining me?
It's true.
Um, but it's I just think it's funny that I just think it's funny that they're always touting and always celebrating how big their crowds are and how, nobody can match them in skill or in crowd size or whatever. France is constantly doing it, by the way. But I will note that we have had record attendances here in the US for what we just recently had for the Pac 4 and when we had the Six Nation or the WXV last year. That's crazy. Why?
Did you
That's
have
so
W? I
crazy.
thought WXV was in Canada.
Was it all in Canada? Wasn't there
Yeah,
one?
no, it was all in Canada.
Oh, okay. Well, Canada did it too. Whatever. No, they didn't actually. It was not great for Canada.
It was pretty
Um,
bad.
it was pretty bad. Um, okay, fine. I was trying to make it so that it wasn't just about America, but like Hattie and I were talking before we came up because it's been brought up in the ball debate, it's been brought up in the marketing debate, it's been brought up in the World Cup debate or the discussions about the World Cups that World Rugby seems to be telling us both rugby needs to Americanify, but America is way too far behind.
Mm.
So which is it? Do we need to grow the game here? Anyway, all of that was to say, it feels like the game is growing, and it feels like England doesn't need to come out and shake their sword, but it's England. Of course, they're going to.
And here's the thing, like there's been quite a lot of people where they're like, well, why are people criticizing England for, they still won 61-33. Why are people kind of
Yep,
like
they're still dominant.
the reason why is that for the last 2 years you've been telling us that your second team is the second best team in the world, that your B team is the
Yep,
second best team in the world. So now that
right.
you do have a bit of an injury crisis and half your team are pregnant and you do have your second team, we are going to be judging you on that.
We are, and by the way, again, it wouldn't be this kind of like, ha ha ha, well then, if two things weren't true. The performance that we're having now with the injury crisis, and while while we're kicking somebody while they're down, um, Can we talk about the age grade performances out of perhaps France, beating the
Yep.
brakes off of England at
And
every other turn? I, I, I think you
Ireland
are
beat
dominant at the
England at,
elite level, and that's it.
I think that's like definitely something that's going to pull through. And I think it's something that we're
Yeah.
probably going to see over the next couple of years is that France have really, really heavily invested in their pathway. Ireland have really heavily invested in their pathway. Wales has a very, very large and diverse pool of talent coming
I was going
through.
to say Wales,
Um,
for as much as we criticize WRU, almost despite the
the
WRU,
natural
actually the pool is yeah,
the
the
natural
pool is
talent,
bigger than
like
you'd think.
the market share of rugby in Wales is naturally larger. Everybody knows this.
Exactly.
There are more girls in, so if you look at the percentage of girls under 18 in England and Wales, there are percentage-wise more girls in Wales playing rugby than there are in England. So even though the pathway is not there, it's cultural, it's there.
Yes.
Moving on, because otherwise I will get into a rant about the WRU, which I would actually like to be let into the matches this weekend, so I'm not going to do that too much.
I
Um,
was gonna say, like, they frankly will not staff that stadium enough to find you. The only reason that you're in any risk is because you are kind of identifiable in
I'm
terms of
very
looks.
identifiable, and
You're very identifiable.
they did cut off somebody's paper bracelets the other week off their bag going into
Oh, I
cap.
know, but it was for security, not because they were too known.
Mm.
I do, I did want to know, and it's a question that I'll never get an answer to, but I do want to know what the security risk was. Did you think they're going to choke them with it? Were they going to make a cute?
I did wonder if it was maybe because they had loads of information from other events on the bracelets and they could flash them as a different thing and get into a different part. I don't know. That was the only thing I could think of, but I think they were just being a bit of a job's worth.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
They needed to find
Um,
something to do.
anyway, I think Italy actually, well, did Italy play well or was it just whatever? What is the Italian version of Jouet?
You did ask me this, and I didn't find out because I don't agree that that was what they were playing with. But maybe it's Jouet with
That they were just like fucking around. And if they got to try, they got to try.
right, but that doesn't feel like Jouet. Jouet is
I feel like
I
that
don't
is
know.
Jouet.
I feel like
Jouet is like play on to me.
I know, you're right. I just feel like Jouet also has a little bit of mastery to it. And the one thing that I maintain that I've been saying this whole tournament is like the one thing I would love to feel when I watch Italy is that like I feel like they're getting more comprehensive and I don't feel that.
Oh no.
Um I
It's
don't well no, but we talked about it even when we were previewing this competition at all before we saw what the current new Italy looks like. And it was like the one thing we would like to see is like a shape. We would like to see that when play gets broken that you can collect it again. I never saw that. What we did see, at least in my opinion, and I'm thinking about this a lot because Women's Six Nations has put out their make your own team of the tournament, and there were several Italian players who are getting a lot of votes according to the
mm,
percentages, and I agree. I think what ended up happening is something that keeps happening to Italy, which is you've got good players and the plan isn't there.
yeah. They've got excellent individual talent. They just can't necessarily put it all together.
Yeah. And, you know,
Which is
it'd be
very
nice if they
Italian.
would it is, but it would also be nice if they like fucking sent somebody who spoke Italian to like talk to the players after these matches because I feel
It
like
would
we're
be
not getting a lot
helpful.
of instant reaction. Well, no, I would like to know. It shouldn't have to be that I like go look for a Homer reporter 4 days after. I would like to know.
But I
I
don't
don't
feel
know.
like
I feel
they do
like
that in the men's Six Nations either. They just rely on an Italian player that can speak English, which sucks.
yep.
Anyway, after that, we had France versus Scotland, 69-28. Now, Scotland managed to get a bonus point.
Mm,
Interesting. Um, our good friend Hugh was a bit miffed because there was the opportunity for a Pala whatever score, and that didn't happen. But then France ended up scoring anyway, so you know,
she said don't say palindrome to me.
palindrome. I can't remember what the word was. France versus Scotland. I so this game did swing at one point. Scotland were in the lead very short for a very short period of time.
A
Um,
very short, exhilarating period of time for all
like
of our
three
Scottish fans.
minutes.
It was
Um,
very much like 3 minutes.
Amy Barrett Theron broke a record. which was cool.
which she's going to keep doing now, which
Yeah.
I actually like. It would annoy me if it was anybody else, but it's just kind of funny to me that it's like everyone now is the record. I'm like, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I will say when Falu went over at literally 0 minutes for her try, I was like, fuck, it's gonna
Ah,
be a
this is the
long
way this day
day.
is gonna go. Um, also,
Then nothing happened. Then she gets a yellow card. Then Scotland kind of get a try, and then France.
I was gonna say and then like after that moment in the game, was this was it this week or last week or last round when our chat was saying like I can't watch this. This is gonna be bad. I think it was this one.
I think it was this week
Um,
in uh yeah, it was, and also the England game.
right. Um, but definitely for France, Scotland. I mean, I wish I had more to say. For Scotland, it was basically like exactly what, and not because like we are supreme knowers or anything, but because it was kind of predictable
It
what
was.
would end up happening. Um,
But like France managed to absolutely wreck Scotland's ruck speed. They're
yes, which
54% under 3 seconds, which is not surprising. They have quite a slow ruck anyway.
I was just gonna say, well, and we never want to, which I hate because I think it's toxic positivity, but we never want to target, which we never want to target one player and say like it was your fault or whatever, but like the Scottish scrum half is not good.
Leah
Like
Bremner Holden, I have a soft spot for because she is a Loughborough Lightning player. However, her
I
ruck speed,
know, and
and like, do you know what? She's quite quick. She's quite fast. Could we not like put her on the wing?
I was gonna say just put her on the wing. Um, but then genuinely the question would have to be asked with Katie Matt gone, who?
Who?
I don't know
Yeah,
who else. Jenny retired.
interesting. You should say who,
Hmm.
because Scotland also had 5 second rows on the pitch. There were no back rowers available. Ellis Martin, who had been
Although a
out.
little bit a la Wales, a little bit a la Wales, to be fair, like half of them are four, five, six, seven, eight players.
Well, so they had Wassell and Macmillan in the second row, which they are second rows through and through. You have
Right.
Bogan at six, which she can play second row and she can play six.
I was gonna
You
say
had
she's done both.
Donaldson, who can play six, but she was playing
And
seven.
seven.
I
She can play both.
I've never seen her play seven apart from that game.
Really?
Yeah. And then Becky Boyd was at eight, which, as a Loughborough Lightning fan, can I just say she's coming off the bench at lock. She was put, if she has played
It was a
a,
very weird. That was the one call when we were looking at the final roster that we were like, hmm.
um,
And it ended up being, by the way, hmm.
mm, um, so they were missing a lot of people. Alice Martin, who has literally come off the bench in the 3 previous rounds for Scotland,
Right.
she started. I don't think that to then play 63 minutes got on her, but that was rough. Aisha
No, I
Sutcliffe
mean,
came on for her
I was gonna
debut.
say Sutcliffe is so green. I mean, also like young. You can be green
Yeah,
and older, but she's young and green. It
yeah,
just wasn't ideal. It did end up severely impacting the line out. I think line out and set piece for
yeah.
Scotland were definitely the worst they've been in a minute.
And the thing is, like
Um,
Ellis Martin is,
in fairness, due almost entirely to personnel. But
yeah.
sorry, go on.
Um, the other thing about Ellis Martin is that although she's quite experienced, she has been almost entirely off the bench. She's started, I think, like 5 times for Scotland.
Right, and and it it partially comes from the time in which she was born, and I'm sorry, but Lana Skeldon got there first, and she's, in my opinion, the best hooker in the game right now. Especially with the news, which we can also share that Agata Sochat retired.
Yep.
Um, and honestly, that was the only one I could think of was close. Um, but yeah, I mean, when Lana is fit, obviously she's going to start. I am a huge Ellis Martin fan. We know this for a lot of reasons. I was surprised, honestly, by the lineup performance. I understand, like, I'm happy to say, I'm not happy, but I'm willing to agree that, like, not her strongest ever. Even on good days, it's not her strongest set piece. Um, she's much better in rucks and mauls, but
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't know, man.
And I'd also say, like, if you look at the
It's it's making me think of the conversation that we had before about line out calling. Sorry, that having Bonner not there is probably gonna impact it, and I
Not
think that it
having
has. But
Bonner
go
there,
on.
not having EVG there, not having
Right.
Rachel Malcolm there, they're huge. Because if you look
In
at it,
terms of giving direction, yeah.
yeah, because you've got Emma Wassell in there who has been out for a long period of time, pretty
Right.
long period. Because like she had the
And
ACL injury, she then came back for a couple games, then she had the
and then
tumor,
had the surgery, right?
and then had the
And
like
and one thing that we don't talk about and pundits don't talk a lot about just because it kind of when you're involved in rugby, it's just kind of like second nature. But it's important to know, especially if you're new to the game or if you're new to women's. I mean, I'm sure it happens with men's too, with exceptions, like if you're South Africa men, with exceptions, plays change very fast on a team. Which is why, because if you're from the outside looking in, it would be like, well, you got Emma Wassel back. How did that not help a ton? And it's like, she's basically new to the team at this
yeah,
point in
like
terms of the way things have
she's
changed. New
very
coaches,
experienced. Like
right,
she's a great sort of leadership option. But when it comes to set piece, like everything would have changed, especially the line out. Like those calls would
fully.
have been massive change. There's been huge changes in coach as
Exactly.
well, and it's a mental thing, like going in and having to
That's
learn
the
that there
thing. And
is.
and, and then on top of the phenomenon that we know everybody has when you come back from injury, which is the fear. Like obviously re-injury is a fear and you don't want to get re-injured in a Six Nations.
And you can see
Um
that sometimes, like when she gets a knock to the chest, she goes down and she has to get checked by medics. Like I think it
yeah,
it is very
which
mental.
and I was just gonna say, and I don't want to like project too much because obviously I don't know these girls, and also they're all elite. They're all
Mm.
much higher performers than I ever was. But like, absolutely, yes. Especially if I were on a team that was as close knit as Scotland, I do wonder sometimes if, especially in the current injury crisis, if I were on that team, I would probably feel panic every time I saw somebody take a hard hit, like or like go down and not come back up, just because I would just fear another loss.
The thing is, like, you look at that forward pack, it is so
It's dire.
young and inexperienced. Like, your most experienced is Emma Wassell, who, as we said, is basically like 2 years out.
Right.
Leah Bartlett has been on and off the bench, still quite young.
Yep.
You've got Louise McMillan, who has always kind of been a fringe player. She's been in and out. She didn't make the World Cup,
Yeah, which is crazy to me, but that's
but
for
that's
different reason.
regardless.
Yeah.
Uh, you then look at like Leah Bramner Holden, not that old. You've got Helen Nelson,
Very
who
young. She's like 19. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Leah Bramner Holden.
Who am I thinking of?
Leah Bramner Holden's like mid-20s. She just bought a house with Alice Martin.
Oh. First of all, gay. Second of all, oh. Um, they bought a house. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Yeah, then I was thinking of somebody else. My bad.
Yeah.
It was probably another three name. But anyway, go on.
Helen Nelson captained the side. I've been, if you've been listening to the pod for a long time, I'm hot and cold on Helen Nelson. I'm a Loughborough Lightning fan. I, I,
I was gonna say, which is how you know that Hattie is being as honest as she can be, because like it brings her no joy to say this. This
like,
is not one that it brings us joy to say.
she sometimes
It's
I
the hot
watch
cold.
her and I'm like,
By the
I
way,
don't
by the
seem
way,
to see what other people see.
Claire Thomas, if you would like to use the word mercurial, use the word mercurial for Helen
Helen
Nelson, because
Nelson.
that is who is mercurial.
Because, like,
The story of Mercury, the god, by the way, is that he goes up and down, is that he crashed. So it's that you go very high up and very low down. That is Helen
and that's the
Nelson.
thing.
You're thinking of meteoric. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. She, she has games where, no offense, Helen Nelson, babe, I get it. Rugby
She
is a
has
very mental
stinkers.
game.
She has stinkers.
She has some honkers, and and then she has games where you're like,
Where you're
you're the
like, God
best in the
damn.
world. Oh my
Yes,
God, yeah.
absolutely.
She has.
And I have this conversation all the time is that I can't decide if Helen Nelson is one of the best fly halves. I
I,
can't
I,
decide
and
because when she's on, she's really on.
and when she stinks so
But
bad. And
it's
the other thing,
and because of how traditionally at least how Scotland hinges their plays between the forwards and the backs, like it's all her. They
it,
have playmakers, they absolutely do in the centers. You always hope that you have at least one playmaker out of your 12 or 13, and they do. Like you have Emma War, obviously. Like there are options, and of the back lines, what sucks is that, like, of the back lines, Scotland's looks the best, but
yeah,
nope.
she just So the thing I was going to say is that sometimes as well, she will have the best game out of hand. She will be passing like nobody's business. She's directing play. It's phenomenal. But
Absolutely.
her kicking, whether it be in game or at post, is so diabolical.
Which is crazy though, because
But then other
the
times,
kicking specifically is what I think of first when we talk about her inconsistency, is that like she has really, really good kicking days and then really, really bad
but
kicking
then like
days.
at the weekend, she was 100% off the tee. She cooked really
Yep.
well. In the
Yep.
actual game, like it is so you don't know what you're going to get because it's just mad, and I never know
It's
what I'm
got
going
to
to get
drive
with
her
her.
nuts too. She is a person who takes, first of all, she's a ball knower. She takes the game quite seriously. She takes her performance quite seriously. We know that she internalizes a lot. And so I do just wonder, like, I wonder what I wonder what the hang up is. Is like, what?
Well, this is where I finally get to my point,
Sorry.
which is I don't fully understand why she gets the pressure of being captain and vice captain because
I feel like it's a seniority thing.
I feel like it's but they've given her vice captain a lot. She's not there's other people that
Do
have
we
been
know? Do Are we
around.
ready? Are we ready to conclude that she is? So Hattie and I have a kind of an axiom that there are players who really thrive with leadership, and there are players who suffer being given leadership. Um, I had always thought that she thrived with it, but
I
you're feeling like maybe not. No, I mean it's fully possible that it might be
I
that
I think
that's the
it's too
case.
much pressure on a player that swings too
Is
much.
inconsistent.
Yeah, I feel like what would worry me with her as captain is that if she had a stinker, it would affect her captaincy really badly. And I think if she was having a bad day with the referee, it would then affect her game. And I think it would be.
Well, so
Having said all of
So that
that,
was that was where I was going to go was actually, and now I'm thinking back to this match and thinking back in general. Even when she has been vice cap, like I don't see her pull the ref aside much ever.
Emma
I don't see
Wassell
it
was
at
speaking a
Loughborough.
lot to the ref. She
Yes,
doesn't really
which
have that same leadership at Loughborough,
no, I know, but in
but
terms of
she
like
doesn't. She's not a
being
big
given the same
yapper.
gravity, right,
Yeah.
right,
Um. So yeah, I feel like if so, obviously we know that we're not going to have the two previous captain options, which were um Captain Dr. Rachel Malcolm
right.
and Lana Skeldon. Um, it'll be interesting to see it goes to Helen Nelson. I think Emma Wassell even though we were talking about how she's been quite green and she's got to relearn the line out, blah blah blah.
Well, yeah, and I
Her
mean,
leadership was actually very very good at the weekend. I think she dealt with
right.
the ref really well.
That
Um,
was what I was going to say is that like aside from, and by the way, like when I said the green thing, I really want to like go back and kind of alter the way that I said it because I'm only saying it in a bubble, in a micro, like obviously knows ball,
ran
like has experience.
ran
Yeah.
the pitch. I think she's like phenomenal. She's talking
That's
to the
my thing
ref really well.
is
I
that
think scrummaging is fine.
I
I
think
think
she's still
it's
was. Like
yeah.
I think she's
I
never going to
think
lose that.
her actual line out ability in terms of like jumping and lifting is
Come,
fine. It's that's not changed. I think it's literally like relearning those line out calls, getting the line out right, getting the timing right, which is something that develops over a period of time. And
yes.
she's basically come back at the end of last year. The people that she was relearning with have all gone off injured, and she's now got a
Right.
very, very, you know, a lot of really green people around her.
It's
Um,
true and you know what?
and you've
I
also got
wouldn't.
Johan.
Oh
Fucking
my
shit
God,
up.
I don't think he matters. I've literally not heard from him. Nobody has. Nobody talks to the assistant coaches. That's like saying that it's Ashley Beck's fault that Wales is not. Anyway,
I do think
um,
it's Ashley Beck's fault that the attack is bad. Anyway,
he'll
moving
never
on.
hear it. He's too busy to watch this.
Yeah, he is.
Um, he has an
He's got
appointment. Um,
27 jobs.
he's the man
He's
is double booked at all
he's
times.
reading
No,
Rugby for Dummies as we speak, which the WRU wouldn't let him buy on Amazon Prime, so it came in like 6 to 7 months.
I mean that joke doesn't work though because how would they have given him 27 jobs if he didn't know rugby? He's reading management for dummies.
There we go.
Yeah, he's reading project management for dummies.
Yeah, we've got
I
we've got
did
to
just,
workshop the joke.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Uh, I did just want to wrap that up with usually I would not make this a point because it feels kind of like a cop out, but asterisk, we're talking about Scotland women. I think in this very specific circumstance, even Was will have less confidence without Rachel Malcolm.
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
everybody has less confidence without her.
Yeah,
And I mean, being on the side, absolutely great, awesome. Was the whole time she
it's
was
not the same
healing.
thing.
Not the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, so
Can we talk about one player who was very confident very quickly before we move on?
let's do it.
Rachel Phillips. What a cracker.
Oh, hey
Two
man, what
tries
a
on
great
debut,
game.
and they
What
were
a
they
great
were good
game.
tries.
I was gonna say they were really solid, extremely well executed. I think she ended up getting the try of the round, but if not, she should have. Um, yeah, really fantastic performance. It's yet more testament that whatever Scotland is doing to develop their backs is working. Really working. Um, yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. Excited to see more. Thrilled that it's a sale player. You're gonna get to see a lot of her, which is really great about,
Mm.
where she's playing. So good
Exciting
job, team.
times. Yeah. And I mean, France were France. They just rolled over.
Yeah,
They
absolutely. And I'm less inclined because we did just have a big France episode. And honestly, like I said in the beginning of breaking this one down, it was what we predicted France would do. We're glad that they did it.
like
I do
five
think
of their
I do think Mwembe is my if it's not Mwembe, it's Grando, but it's one of the two is my breakout player of the tournament.
7 tries through their forwards,
That's just France, baby.
two of which being from their replacement props.
Wasn't one or both Mwembe?
One was Mayembe, the other
Yeah,
one was
yeah.
Deshay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Right,
yeah,
right.
and then they had 4 tries from the backs.
I mean, so that's a game for me, and our friends are saying where are the back tries, but uh whatever it was, wasn't it 11 tries for France this match? So you're fine. We are behind you. We hope you do the damn thing in Bordeaux. And when we
Yeah,
talk about matches for next week, we will express that more.
yeah. And then we move on to the final game
So,
of the round.
you know what? I know what people would expect. Maybe you do. I really don't have much to say about this one. I'm
Do you
sorry.
know what? I have said this now several times, which is I don't know understand what happens in this game, but whoever plays in this game, whoever loses in this game gets absolutely dicked, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter whether it's Ireland that lose, they get dicked by Wales. If Wales lose, they get dicked by Ireland. They get
yeah.
absolutely torn apart. If Wales do it to Ireland, it's through mauls and through
I was gonna say
physicality.
it's
If
through
it's
physicality.
if it's
When
Ireland
Ireland
doing
does it,
it,
it's through kicking.
it's through kicking or just line breaks. It's usually
I was gonna say
the
it's
insane line breaks.
that was pithy of me. No, in reality, it is both the kicking. It's the kicking knowledge and when to do it properly, and the fact that more than one of them can do it with effect. And then also, once you break the Wales line, you're
You're
there.
through. Yeah.
You're through. And
Um,
so really, that is my come up for this match is that like there has to be a change with Wales such that one line break isn't over. I don't understand how they are one and done at this point. How are you not? No, I mean, so you do know that people are going to get line breaks on you because you are not the best defense. You're just not.
and
Um,
then why do you put the worst defender at 15 if that
right.
keeps
And
happening?
so then my questions come about like two things, which is first of all, why did you do that? That's my first question. And yes, it is you're in a difficult spot if your answer to every challenge of like somebody who's really fast or somebody really good at line break is depend on your fullback. That is their job, yes. But generally, if they're getting to just your fullback one on one most times, you're in a bad spot.
I do think there were several other things that happened in this game. There was, for
Yep.
example, Clean Maloney McDonald, who managed to get away with a yellow card for a kick with Georgia Evans on the floor, which I don't think was right.
Yep.
And then several minutes later, Jazz Joyce got a yellow card for like a minor offence, and I was like, "This is so stupid. Why are we
Yep.
giving the same punishment for two vastly different things?"
Why is
Um,
it always against Wales?
why is it always against Wales? Jazz Joyce managed to get a try, which it very rarely happens when she plays for Wales, so that was nice to see. I think she had actually quite a
It
good
was a dope
game.
try, to be fair.
Like she actually
It
had
was a
quite a good
great
game.
try.
I felt
Yes.
Most of the first half,
I
I was,
honestly, I honestly have the fewest critiques for Jazz of their tournament so far for
yeah,
this match.
yeah. I the first half I was still kind of like screaming at her internally, where I was like, "Go, please
Yes,
stop doing that footwork thing. It doesn't work in
because you
15s.
don't need to. It's not sevens, and
It
I
puts you
feel
at a
like
disadvantage."
when I am feeling particularly negative, like the voice in the back of my mind is just like she's doing this on purpose because she fucking hates 15s. No, I wouldn't say this if she hadn't made several socials posts dedicated to how much she hates 15s.
15s. Um, so that was just a bit frustrating. But when she was like the second half, she was much better, apart from, the yellow card.
Right,
She was much
right.
better. I think Nikita Prothero, when she came on, played really, really well, and it was really interesting to see a lot of
Everybody was in agreement.
the kind of noise about her this week, because I feel like that's potentially setting up for her to start, which would be good.
Which I really hope,
Because
and
we
especially
really
after the
need
posts that happened today.
we
A
really
real
need
15.
a
A real
specialist
15.
15, which is what she is. For people who don't know,
Yes.
haven't heard me yap about Nikita Prothero before, she was a former open side flanker who got moved to the wing and then moved to fullback. She is an absolutely phenomenal defender. She can,
It was a very smart move, and it
yeah,
was the right one for her and her skill set. I think she has really blossomed at 15.
imagine
Sale agrees. She's now
a
constantly starting.
like a Georgie Paris Redding, but with the speed of
That
Jazz
that
Joyce.
I was gonna
That's
say that does back
basically
shit.
like it.
Yeah.
Like, is she, a back that maybe has the absolute best hands in the world? Is she a distributing 15? No. Can she,
Okay. You can't
can
be
she,
everything.
is she a great sort of like lone defender, last man standing?
Yes.
Yes.
Which
Is
is
she,
literally what Wales
which
needs
is
is
what Wales need, which is
last
why I've
man
been
standing.
saying
Yeah.
she should start since the beginning of this tournament.
Yes. We
Um,
have all been in agreement for that one.
and then she is also really, really good, sort of aerially as well. So I, I'm just very excited to see things move in that direction. I think the pressure is on Sean a little bit to change things up.
I was gonna say, our friend Hugh wrote it in his recent newsletter that, there was a belief, and I'm only saying this because I completely agree with it, and we have said this before anyway, but we did go into the Sean Lynn era under the belief, because it's what we were told, not us dreaming up shit, it's what we were told, is that a lot of this is because we're basically going to refresh the blood. Um, Obviously, you never want to phase out like all of your team at once, and that was never going to be an option anyway because there simply aren't enough people who are ready for the Six Nations. But there are some positions, 15 is one of them, 10 is one of them, where like at some point you have to take the L. It's not working. Love you to death. What you do from here is up to you. The 10 and 15s that aren't doing good, um, get better or get on the bench.
For me,
I
I
I
think
think it's time.
the bigger problem for me is like our second row. I think Allow and Tilly, we should be seeing more of them. Um,
Yep.
I think Georgia, to be fair, has been playing really well, and I think we
Yeah.
should be having her
She's
play her at eight,
she's
which
ended
is
up
her actual position.
I was gonna say she's actually
Um,
ended up not not it wasn't necessarily what we wanted, but has ended up kind of versatile
yeah,
for a
um,
person who I agree should stay at 8.
yeah. But our back, Lake George is a weird one. I will park that for another day.
We'll park it for another day.
Yeah. But our centres, although I love the combination of Cox and Keat, it doesn't seem to be working with Lake George. Let's
No.
change it up. Let's see if something else works. Change our wings,
Jenna
change our
Jenna Devera is healthy again. She can jump in. She and Courtney played together at Bears and or played together at Bears anyway. It's time to
yeah.
shuffle.
Have a
And
shuffle, have it. Insanity
if
is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and
over and
expecting
over.
different results.
Yeah.
Um, to quote Dan from this week's rap, in reference to Sean Lynn. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Which, yep.
I think in terms of Ireland, I think they had a very standard Ireland game.
Yeah.
Um,
And in such, it was definitely an Ireland win. There was no
yeah.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it wasn't like, to me, I didn't watch the Ireland game, and I'm not saying this like to be biased. It wasn't one of the games where I'm like, Ireland had the best game ever. Like, I think they just had a really
No.
standard outing for them.
Yes,
Um,
and honestly, but the thing is, ball knowers know that when you say that for an Ireland Wales matchup, and Ireland won, you know that it is also implying that like Wales stuffed it, and they did.
yeah. Yeah, like there are certain things like, for example, if we were able to get the ball out to the wings, if Lakey George's kicking in that game, I don't think was necessarily as much of a problem as people think it was. I think it was the kick chase that was the problem. I think it was, our wingers didn't look like they actually wanted to catch her kick
I was gonna say,
passes.
but the thing is, the chase is like a perennial problem for this Wales side. Is that that has always been like the unspoken other half, but for the longest time you could bury it by saying that like you're not taking kick chances at all, but now you are, and it turns out you're not good at it. So,
It's just very, very frustrating. And to have a 10 who like Lakey George is a great kicker. Like her
mm,
kick passing specifically is very, very
I
good.
was gonna say the kick passing, yes. I am one of the few people in the world who considers themselves a Wales fan and is simply not. I'm not bowled over. The kick pass, yes, is great. Neither her nor Kira, I think, actually had good kicking days in this match. No. Um,
I think Kira's
and
been a bit off on the tee recently, but
yep,
she needs somebody to come up behind her. And the main reason why she was so good, like circa 2022, was that her and Snowy were having kickoffs before the game. It wasn't a given that she was going to have the tee. They don't seem to
yes.
be doing that anymore. It just seems to be that Kira's got the tee.
Well, and so the thing is, I didn't want to say this because I felt that it, wasn't useful to say, and it just sounds like I'm bashing her, but like Flaky can't kick from the tee. It's Kira because that's all they have.
I mean, I don't
Um,
think she's not
I've
super
never
bad at it.
seen
She
her.
just doesn't do it
I've
very often
I was gonna
because
say I've
they've.
never seen her place kick in
Oh, I
in
have.
in a test.
Yeah, she did it the other
Oh,
week, and she made it.
mm,
But
okay.
I think it's just because you've got Kira, and then obviously
Yeah.
Kira kicks at Bears, but Lakey doesn't because you've got Emma Singh.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, should we move on to WER and bits?
Yeah. WRN bits. So. WER round two occurred. Um, Unfortunately, I hate to update us with not really much of an update, but as far as I can tell, there are still no replays available. I went and looked at Tubi in America just to make sure. It's not there at all. In fact, they don't have any replays of any sports anything, so I was kind of confused because at first I worried, like many apps these days, I'm like, can I just not navigate this properly? But no, they're just not there. So I only can report on what I saw, which was the Tempest game, which was awesome because the Tempests have notched their first, the Chicago Tempest has notched their first win in the WER ever. I will say this overall, what we are learning from the WER right now, and I think everybody will squarely agree who is watching this, is right now, in terms of the depth that we have in our domestic players versus our Eagles and Eagles hopefuls, it's a pretty wide gap, unfortunately, is what we're learning. But what it means, especially if you are a WER fan, is that you're going to start seeing other teams than just one win because, as far as we can tell, and I and other American watchers and talkers have been looking, but it seems so far like there's no plan to have Eagles back. Um, Last year, it went kind of differently. First of all, the windows were such that there was
It was
time
after.
that you could come over after PWR. It seems like, and I mean, WER does go to early June, but
But
as
so
of
does
recording, it's May.
PWR.
I was going to say, as of right now, it's May 14th, and PWR is also about to start back up. And we know from multiple socials posts that all of the Eagles are back at their PWR clubs. So all of that signals that they're not going to play. I think I think that that's going to have other effects. But I think that that's something more for like a USA centric conversation. What I will say is that if you are a fan of competition and you aren't as bogged down as I am in what the implications are for development for both the Eagles and, for perhaps like an actually competitive professional league for us domestically. As long as those aren't your main concerns, it's actually getting more entertaining. The
Mm.
score lines are getting closer together. Teams that haven't won are now winning. And honestly, with taking out the fact that Onyx was so, so, so dominant because USA Rugby is in Colorado. So everybody who didn't feel like moving from Glendale just went to the Onyx. Since that's not in play anymore, Onyx aren't dominant.
No,
Um,
they lost a
which
game.
they lost, I think, both of their games.
Games. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, it's good and I am happy because I do want this to be competitive because I know the American sport market and I know that what is going to get people watching this is not star power. It's simply not that kind of sport here in America yet. We don't have an Alex Morgan of rugby. Like
Mm.
we don't have a Trinity Rodman. We have amazing players that like we know and love. And luckily now they're getting kind of bigger, Erica Gerald Cersei especially is like kind of crossing the boundary. Um, but yeah, I'm happy with that. I wish I had
I'm
more to report. As
I'm
usual, go to
happy
YSC Rugby
to
for a
report that
breakdown of.
there are sort of long form highlights on the WER YouTube
Yes, yes,
between
there
like
are
10
that.
and 20 minutes, which is not bad. I would rather have full games, but
Right. It
it's
is not bad. You are right, and I should have added that. I knew at the back of my mind, but
yeah.
yeah. But
I
definitely
would
do check out. Oh, sorry, go on.
I would rather have like 15 minutes of highlights than like 2 minutes, you know?
Exactly. So that was what I was going to say is that, and I have found those replays helpful. And of course, you know, this again would be something that we would talk about on a USA pod, but it just like Squidge talks all the time about how like it's very hard to make this content that you love that promotes your game when you don't give me footage. In this case, it's not rights based. This is just there isn't any. Or when there is, and this is something that I think a lot of leagues that start up kind of learn late. I think about the PWHL when I think of this, is that like, yes, you can realize that your demographic like uses certain apps and websites more than others. We joked about it. I think you and I joked about it on air last week, but we've joked about it a lot ourselves since we learned that there are very big demographic changes between watching video on Instagram and watching video on YouTube. However, because YouTube, anybody who clicks on a link can get to it. And on Instagram, if you click a link and you don't have an Instagram, it just goes to the home screen. Unfortunately, you are keeping people out of seeing it if the highlights are only on Instagram or TikTok. Now, yes, more young women will see it there than on YouTube, unfortunately. And it's the reason why our pod is on YouTube as well, is that like to be able to clip it up and edit easily and have a really wide reach and of course there's censorship, but as little geographic censorship as possible. So I'm really hoping those highlights come to YouTube so that we can use them for analysis and people can make fun clips. And maybe one day we can get somebody who's really good at the like visual breakdown like you into doing that. So that'd be great.
I
I don't know how to do that,
I feel like with
but
WER, like just as we were talking about demographics and getting people to share and blah blah blah, they are on Blue Sky, which great,
yeah,
love the
which,
ethical implications
and
of
that's the
that, good
thing
for
is that,
you.
yeah,
But like a lot of American women's sport content is on Twitter.
it's on Twitter. Yep, absolutely. And,
And
and
that's why like there are so I have a lot of like PWHL fans that we're like mutuals on Twitter.
and WNBA. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of the PWHL girls talk about WER, but it doesn't really have a community because the actual accounts aren't there. And I
Right.
do understand that like why they've done it
And
and the ethical
right.
implications and blah blah blah. But you are missing out. There is a gap there now because you're not.
Exactly. And I do, and I don't know for a fact that the reason that it's not on YouTube yet is because of one thing or another. If it's about demographic, if it's about like the tech limitations that you have. I don't know what it is. Or it could even be this is something that we've run into in our podcasting, definitely bigger rugby podcasters have, but if a song is playing in the stadium, you will get DMCA'd. Um there are a lot of pitfalls. I do totally get it. And we brought this up just because we would be remiss not to, but I want to stress that like I do not think that this is the biggest problem right now.
Mhm.
The biggest thing to me that I want for WER is to make the games I mean, they got a streaming service, which is awesome. It's a difficult one to find. And there are no replays. The
Can we just have replays?
we really need to be able to share. Um, I would love if you would come back to Twitter because like when you can't at an account, like it drives views down, and then if it drives views down, it leaves your circle less. It sucks. I know. SEO sucks. Like I don't want to learn it either, but
And
if
like,
I want more than my friends to see it, I have to learn it.
yeah, it's it's just a weird. And the thing is, we touched on it a couple of weeks ago, but like the social media people at WE are probably not paid very much. They're not full time.
Right.
Like, I get it.
I
I
mean, they're
get why they
probably
don't.
team members, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I get why there's like, the website isn't that great and why like X, Y, and Z is,
Yep.
but I get why, but like it is hampering the growth of
Right. And
WER because the thing is
it
that,
is.
and
And
the thing with WER, and Julia might bristle at this, but there is the fact that they do, yes, you have an American audience, and yes, you're going to have Americans watching it, but you also have to consider that there are a lot of people in Europe or Australia or New Zealand who are
I
going
don't
to
bristle at
watch
that at
it.
all. That matters so much to me.
So
No, my
therefore, even though because the games are sometimes at like midnight UK time, you
yes.
need to have the replays available so that
Right.
viewers can watch it. Because at the
That was where
minute,
I was gonna go. Is
USA
that
Eagles who are playing in the PWR can't watch your games.
they can't watch it. And in fact, they have posted about it. And no, no, no. So I don't bristle at that at all. I completely agree because even separating my own like feelings about pride in American rugby, like I'm not stupid. I know where viewers are. Um, obviously I want more eyes on it. And it 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 just frustrates me because especially and this is a wider thing that's happening. This is not just about WER, but as we approach the World Cups that will be in America, obviously everybody's talking a lot about it, about whether they should be here at all, whatever. But when you break away from all of that noise, um, I just feel like if we want to grow the audience here, like you've got to take this more seriously. And I know it's annoying. And I know that there are a lot of ethical concerns going back to why they're on Blue Sky and not Twitter. I understand. I love that WER is by far the most ethical professional league for women. Um, I doubt there's blood money, which is awesome. Um, all of that is great. In fact, the people who are really mad about the trans ban are looking into the investors. They have not found any. It hasn't been like surprise, it's Lockheed Martin. But
Surprisingly for American capitalism, it's not
not
been
that
that
bad.
bad.
Not that bad. And all of that is great, and that's absolutely going to be appealing to the American rugby audience. But it is also true that if we want this World Cup to succeed, we will need to show people a reason to come watch rugby in America. And a great way to do that would be to show that we can. And no, the crowds at WER aren't huge. They're as big as like early PWR days, but also
I think they're
remember
bigger
America
than,
is a way bigger. They are, but proportionally to our
yeah. I was going to say, like,
population.
I don't think that, like, some of the crowds I'm seeing, I'm like, I've seen PWR games recently with a smaller crowd than that.
Yeah. And it's true. It's not something that PWR would ever talk about, but honestly, that is probably another reason why PWR is bringing in the Celtic nations. Like I think even though they are full of bluster and they are very up their own ass, like surely England rugby sees what's on the horizon. And to end my little rant here, I would like America to also be on the horizon. I know that there is a lot of talking about us by people who didn't play American rugby, have no real investment in it. It's a bunch of like Australians and South Africans arguing about why American rugby is bad. Have you ever been here? Have you ever been to one of our games? Have you ever like seen the
And like
women?
Americans have the pool. If America took rugby seriously, they'd dominate. If Australia took rugby union seriously, they would dominate too,
They
babe.
would dominate too. Hmm. In fact, and really the icing on the top of that argument is that we used to say it about South Africa, and then it happened, and then we were right. We were like, if they took women's rugby seriously, they'd become a force. They took women's rugby seriously, and they've become a force. It's a very hard uphill argument to make that like it's really not worth the investment or like really really not worth your time. Give in.
Hmm.
Love
S-
rugby.
Speaking of loving rugby and giving
Let's
in
do it.
to the demons that be, uh,
Which is next week or this weekend
which
now.
is this Sunday, yeah.
Yep. So it's Super
Wales
Sunday.
Super Sunday. I will be at Wales versus Italy. Hopefully, my beloved can avoid the wooden spoon. If not,
I
two
don't
other
think they can.
things to celebrate on that day.
Yes.
Italian lock Valaria Fedrughi is going to retire. Not celebrating that she's retiring, but celebrating her
No,
career, that kind of
yes,
thing.
and in the wake of Bimba's announcement that she is retiring fully from rugby, I am now thinking back on her Spanish retirement, where
Mm,
like that's the wrong fucking way to do it, and this is the
yeah,
right fucking way to do it.
yeah, it is.
So I am
Um,
thrilled for her.
and then, if you are at that game, if you are at CAP, you manage to get through the shitty
Yes.
security. I have special edition. I'm calling them special edition. It means that I've ordered them, and I'm the only person that currently owns them. Special edition. Just say no to dainty lady ball stickers. And you may be like,
Patty really needs you to know, especially if you're on audio, that they glitter.
they are glittery, so they are different from the ones that you can buy. They are glittery, holographic. I'm very
Oh,
excited.
that literally is special edition then, if
Yeah,
you
you
can
can't
only
get
get
them
them
anywhere else.
by finding the Hattie.
Finding me.
As we mentioned, and so I don't think that this exists at all, especially with how much you put out for Rugby History Project as well. But on the off chance that there's a single listener who has never seen your face, I really just like to imagine that person's just like, how am I gonna find Hattie?
So, for people, maybe you only ever listen to audio, maybe you have no idea what I look like, right?
They
I,
don't have a single device that has a screen. They only listen to it on their smartwatch.
yeah,
Go on.
um, I am about 5'5".
Oh my God.
I have very curly hair. I am potentially wearing something that is animal print,
Potentially.
and I will probably be wearing a Brython Thunder shirt that says 13 on the back.
Okay, I was like the one that you're wearing right now, but you mean the one that you just acquired. Whose was it, by the way, that you won it from?
I think it's Courtney Keat. I'll take it as Courtney Keat because I mean it's large enough to fit me, so I feel like it has to be a slightly
That's
musclier
that's so
centre.
baller. That's so baller. Oh, I hope it is CK's. CK, you rock. Thank you very much.
Levy, I've got your
Um,
shorts too, which I do appreciate. I'm wearing them right now.
so you can say you got in Courtney Keats' pants.
I did get a Courtney Keats pants.
Nailed it.
Uh,
If you're looking for something, oh, I was gonna say slightly less depressing, but then I saw that it's Ireland versus Scotland.
yeah, I mean it's in the Aviva, Scotland are the walking wounded.
I think Ireland is gonna really
This
have a field day.
there's like 30,000 tickets sold,
That's what I
which is
that's what I
like
was gonna say
the
is that it's gonna
Aviva,
be a bunch of the Irish chanting at you like it's over.
like for people who maybe the Aviva is the smallest stadium in the men's Six
Right.
Nations. It holds like 50,000, so it's over half full. Um, it's going
Yeah.
to be, I mean, I was about to say it's going to be quite loud, but the thing is, the men's Six Nations
Yes.
games are not loud, but I feel like women's fans are always more fun
I was
anyway.
gonna say it's because they don't watch with whimsy.
Yeah. They don't watch with fans, listeners, women's rugby treehouse listeners, do you watch rugby with whimsy? Let us know down
If
below. Like,
let
comment,
us
and
know in the
subscribe.
comments. Let us know in the comments if you watch Rugby with Whimsy. If you don't, please know that we make a note on your file that says Lax Whimsy.
Mm, we do. We get our friend
And
Lo
we
to do it.
we get our friend of the pod Lo to do it,
Yeah.
who is keeping notes on all of you,
Mm.
even if you didn't.
Then we move on to, let's be honest, it's the big game. They fix it
It's the one
every
I want.
year, so they fix it every year, so it's going to be the last one. They've even done it for next year, but we'll get onto that in a moment. France versus England in Bordeaux. Can France crush the Roses?
I would do anything in the world to be at this match. It's probably going to be such vibes.
It's gonna
I
be.
am so sad that we
I
couldn't force any of our French friends to go. And by the way, they all tried. Like this is not against
Yeah, it's
any of
sold
our
out.
French contributor friends. No, it's super far and I have to learn internal French geography to understand, but Bordeaux is kind of out of the way. So
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
However, Bordeaux, they love their rugby, they love their
They
women's
love
rugby.
rugby and it's gorgeous
It's
and the
it's
weather is always good.
it is going to be so loud.
I know, I can't wait. I hope that the Marseillaise like damages somebody's psyche of
I
English persuasion.
this I so I saw somebody earlier on in the week say that England, they're used to playing in really big crowds now, so maybe that's why they weren't doing as well in Italy. I thought that was a weird
Oh, fuck off. That's so we lost because you couldn't pull enough crowd for
crowd.
us.
Yeah.
Oh. Mm.
Which I thought was weird because I was like, hang on, like 5 years ago, and you were still pretty dominant. There was nobody there, and that's not COVID related. There was just
And by
like,
the way, and by the way, I love the constant undertone that the only reason that it's growing is because England is so dominant, even though like the crowds happen to end up being like all Celtic or all French or all American. What are you talking about?
so
It's fine.
I thought it
And
was
you know
bizarre.
what? You know what? Maybe this was 5D chess of them. Maybe they wanted to get all of the other rugby people riled up so we'd all get good.
Here's the thing. I don't think there is literally anybody who is like cock of the walk, big baller, like whatever, that could walk out in front of an entirely French crowd in Bordeaux screaming bloody murder that
I
would
will
not be put off.
exactly. I will say, like, as much as we like to clown it or whatever, the one thing that I do see consistently from Red Roses players, and they say it with no qualms, like happy to admit it, that they're like, it is the most intimidating place to play. They're like,
Like,
and you know, even Skaz talked about it. I remember when she first retired, that they were like, you know, like, what are your memories or whatever, and she's like, I like being like a little peeing a little the first time you played against in a sold out French stadium.
yeah,
Where
it's
and they
maybe
said that it's so loud you can't hear yourself. Holly said that it gets so loud you can't hear yourself. I can't imagine, man. I would do anything for it, and they love their rugby in Bordeaux.
and especially because of the way that a lot of their stadiums are built as well, like they're
Yeah,
very much on top. Whereas like South African stadiums, for example, tend to be
or
more like wider. So it's
yeah,
not
they're
like so the
sprawly. Yeah,
yeah, so like the top levels aren't necessarily like sat on top of the pitch, whereas a lot of the French stadiums you are sat on top.
yeah,
And it's very enclosed, like it's very
yeah. And
close.
that was how the stadium was for New York Sevens. And while like it was very difficult when there was no sun and it was really windy, other than that, like it does do great things for the sound.
Mhm.
Completely understand why they do that.
Yeah. So I do
So
think that
anyway,
it could be.
yeah, so the question is, will they crush the Roses? My answer is no, they will not crush the Roses. Do I think they can win? Yes.
It was a
Uh
good pun on roses, though.
oh yeah, 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 no. I understood. Um I just don't need anybody in the comments trying to say they told us so. Obviously, we know that like England is probably going to win. I do feel that
I
it is not 100% foregone.
I am going to put myself on the mast. I'm going to say I think it'll be a French win.
Yeah, I would love it to be 43-42 again to France.
Oh, fuck it. Let's say 50-42. Or like
Got me a little bit.
2014 or something. I don't know.
So that was where I got kind of like lost in my own thoughts about it because my first thought was like 42-43 would be great. But England is yes they are still recording high scores. It doesn't feel like they're like making it rain down. So I don't even know if it's going to be high
I
scoring.
I also think the other thing that could be interesting. So something our good friend Hugh pointed out was that there have been some dodgy roses tries that probably should have been chalked off, forward passes, things like
Absolutely.
that. That French crowd, if they see a forward pass, are
I
going to
fucking
go
hope.
fucking ballistic.
I hope.
And
That
the
is
thing
my
is,
true hope
crowds do
because
influence
England
the
gets
referee.
yes, England gets such a friendly whistle everywhere. And I would love it
I
if
think the
just
one place that
once.
that's not going to happen is
Yes. Do we give me one sec. Who is refereeing it?
oh, could you
Just
imagine if it's
Moonerini. She doesn't get a call shit.
she's gonna be like jouer, jouer. She's
She no. Clara Moonerini is the one who would tell you what jouet is in
no,
Italian.
no, Julia.
What? Is it
It's
Cat
Clara.
Roach?
No, it's Clara.
I can't wait to tell our friend when we log off. This is fantastic. Oh my God, this is gonna be a disaster.
This match is going to be a fucking
Oh,
shit show.
they're gonna let Kalfawi kill someone. They're gonna give her a gun. They're gonna let Matasu Fall kill someone. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's because and like I've like had a lot of chat with my
R.I.P.
friends.
Lucy Backer.
All right, no, it's over. Oh my God, it's over. She's gonna get run over. They're gonna let they're gonna let someone stand on her. God. We've been and
Disclaimer, we don't actually want any harm to come to people. We,
obviously not.
please don't say, we told you so, or your England hates whatever. It's friendly rivalry, it's friendly banter,
It's
babes.
friendly rivalry and also like I say to multi-million-dollar rugby players who block me, like go cry into your money. Go cry into your Six Nations cup. Like I'm not. I'm not crying into my money. I have no Six Nations wins to cry into. So
We're just two idiots on the internet.
we're just two dumbasses who I think very few people listen to other than friends and loved ones. It is crazy to me that there are people who voluntarily keep coming back and are delightful and are in our comments. By the way, thank you.
To Noel, who bought me a program.
Neil,
No, I'm pretty sure it's Noel.
I know. Okay. I yelled at myself because I thought I said it wrong. Our buddy, who I think I said wrong. It's either Noel or Neil.
NJ Griffin.
To our wow, to our buddy NJ.
Imagine if we are both completely wrong. We do apologize. We're just two idiots on the internet, but thank you
His
for the
name is
program.
Nicholas. Anyway, thank you. You don't understand how excited Hattie got because I check our comments religiously because
I don't.
I need a lot of reassurance emotionally. So I check them pretty much like 5 minutes after we're told that they were posted. And then I tell Hattie if there's anything worth looking at. Otherwise, I'm not positive she ever watches our podcast back, which is very funny to me. Um, I do that too because again, I am extremely self-conscious. Um,
Your blue
and I
sky
need
name is
and I need
Snag, so I have no. I'm confused now, but I
I
was
need to
sure
know
it was Noel.
I need to know if you like me. I need to know if everybody likes me, if everybody thinks that I did good, if everybody thinks I'm good at this. Um, and when I can't tell, I spiral.
That's why I
Folks,
have the rugby history project.
I know, right?
Mm.
It's so smart of you to do because like it's a slam dunk. Like what are you gonna do? Get mad at her joy for rugby?
Well, there was the person who called me racist, but we'll move on.
Okay, it was very funny. And the background of that, in case you are listening to this and are like, why did somebody call Hattie racist? It was because Hattie did not cover a white person. So
It's
she was
because
actually a racist.
I made a video about a statue of one white person and two
And one
black
person of
people.
color. Yeah, two black. I didn't know if they're okay, so yeah, two black people. Um, and this person felt that they should have all been white or not do it at all.
And
So,
also the white person was of Latvian heritage.
which is basically of color if you are a racist English person, which I think this person was.
Yeah, it was about Wales, but yeah,
I did
probably.
recently find out there are racist Welsh people. Kind of
I know.
silly.
I keep
Gonna tell
bursting
you,
Julia's
kind of
bubble.
silly. Yeah, I have been learning a lot since you guys have been having your elections. I've been learning a lot of things that I didn't enjoy learning.
Yeah, I had to
Um,
explain how our
Plaid.
electoral system worked earlier and like how it would work if Keir Starmer got kicked out and like how that would all.
Right, that is the least of your problems, and we had other people help me with that too. No, the problem was that again with the fetishization the Celtics, um, of the Celts, that like I assumed that Plaid Cymru was like all like basically communists like me. No, no, some of you just hate England and also any immigrants. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. You have like 14 people in your country.
Okay, we're veering off into a different place now.
Look, folks, I have hit the wrap up section
No,
of
we oh
your.
yeah, we have
Yes, I
27.
know. Yes, Six Nations 2027 has been announced in terms of the fixtures. I don't really know why they bothered doing that, but great, they did. We have something to talk about on the Rugby podcast. Super Saturdays will continue. Uh, unfortunately, if you are somebody who believes, well, wait, how are they not lunch friendly? Because the complaint from another one of our friends was that there are like 12, 15, 12:30 games. That's lunch friendly.
Number one, it is Noel.
It is null. Great. So I
Yeah,
nailed it the first time.
yeah,
So good for me then, bad for me this time, and then good for me again.
yeah.
Um,
Um, but lunch friendly. So the reason why it's not lunch friendly is that you can't go and have lunch
oh,
and
right,
then
right.
go to the match.
Okay, so see, but that's also super misleading because even what I understood before we like inbitified it was that I thought that his complaint was that you couldn't like sit and drink and eat your lunch and watch it because that is fun. I do enjoy doing that.
No, no, no. It
Um,
was
he,
specifically
he meant make a
related.
day of it. No, 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 I
Yeah.
remember. It's making the day of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the person on Twitter that said about how expensive Wales men's games at the Principality were getting, and then gave a list, and it was like getting the train in first class, going for a three-course
Four
dinner with
drinks.
wine,
That's right. It
um,
was four drinks.
4 rounds of drinks, premium seats, whatever.
Exactly. Where they're like, it's too much to go out. It's like, it sounds like you don't like spending money, which who does these days?
Neither do I, says the person who's found somewhere to stay in Cardiff for £40 a night.
Right.
Yeah, they
And
do be like that.
Hattie is very good at finding places to stay. I mean, like, are they technically good places to stay? No. But they are places to stay if you find them.
My the things
The
that I
last one didn't
insist on
have
having.
plates or forks.
No. But it did
Cutlery,
have my own bathroom.
great. I would really not want in this day and age to stay anywhere I don't have my own bathroom.
There are a lot of guest rooms in the UK that you have to share a bathroom, which I'm just not here for.
Oh, I don't
I
want to
would
walk in on your bed.
preferably have a double bed. Um,
Fancy.
and I
That's
would
again insane that they would put you on a twin bed, but
and
that
I
seems kind of
would
unique.
quite like Wi-Fi and a fridge.
Yeah,
Th
absolutely to
those are
those two.
my what I would like. And then how cheap can I get it is my answer.
Exactly. Which you're very good at. I lack the patience for it. And since if, especially if you are a crossover Wall Street Journal WRT listener, which I think is precisely no one. Um,
It's me, but I
after
don't.
it's you.
Yeah.
You also don't listen to Wall Street Journal.
I do. I listen to it on the fastest speed I possibly can,
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
which, by the way, is a trip when you're listening to Julia.
which with me is gotta be something. I had a weird experience going to New York Sevens with where I stayed. And so from then on, I was like, no, it's always going to be a hotel. I don't go for like expensive ones, obviously, because look at me. But no, sorry, it's always hotels now. I like that I can tell you to leave me alone. I like that I know what I'm going to get each time. And if I forget anything, it's not surprisingly in the middle of nowhere. So folks, these have been our travel tips. Six Nations 2027, not lunch friendly, probably other things friendly. Hattie is really excited that Wales isn't playing Scotland first or Italy last. I don't really care. That's great, I guess. Le Crunch is still Le Crunch, and everybody expects that it'll be England and France battling it out. So, folks, this has been an episode of Women's Rugby Treehouse. We will be covering how Six Nations tied up next week. Hopefully, I will at least be able to see more WER and maybe find a way to save them for Hattie. I don't know. I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah, because I've got things to
Like I
do
know how to
this
do this.
weekend.
Do you? Other
Yeah.
than Cardiff,
I've
or is it
got to
just
watch
Cardiff?
Eurovision,
Oh, right.
and then it's Super Sunday. It might
I think
interrupt my viewing time.
I do think my wife is mad at me because we've missed Eurovision, and she made me promise to tell her when Eurovision was, and then I just now realized
Saturday
it.
is the main. It'd be like
Oh,
3 o'clock
okay. So I
your
actually
time.
haven't missed it yet. Okay,
No, no,
then never mind. That's what
you've
I'm
missed
doing.
the semis, but the
Right.
final is on Saturday. I believe it's 3 o'clock your time.
Fantastic. I will be watching that for sure. I can't wait to day drink and watch that. Um, is Romania still in?
I don't know
Oh, okay.
because the
Well,
semi-final is happening as we're recording this.
wow, I really took you away from it.
Mm.
That's all right. We went to exactly the time we meant to do, so we are going to end this on a successful note. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, questions and comments in the comments section. You can find us all over the place in social media. We look forward to talking to you next week. Send any questions, comments our way, and yeah, thank you very much. See you next time.
See you next time. Also, watch my latest video. Bye.